Now we will learn about the melting point. What is melting point? Is the solid become a liquid. What is the temperature at which the solid become liquid? That is called melting point. And I will explain the melting point here. As the melting point and boiling point, there is a, if two this is not similar. If boiling point increases, then melting point increases. It is not always. So in some case, it may be similar properties will give, but in it is not always similar that melting point increase, boiling point increase. If melting point decreases, boiling point decreases. It is not necessary. So there is a different criteria for melting point and different criteria for boiling point. As a melting point, as the branching increases, boiling point decreases, and melting point also decreases. But for a better packing, if better packing is there, if better packing is there, if better packing is there, then melting point will be higher. Higher means, suppose such type of compound. Here, this example. This is straight. This is a higher melting point. Then the melting point decreases. If the branching increases, melting point decreases. But for a better packing, melting point is a higher. But for better packing, melting point is higher. So this thing need to be this need to be take care. That's why three will be higher melting point than the first, then the second, and the so this thing needs to be remembered. For better packing, melting point will be higher. Why melting point will be higher? They are both betterly packed. They are packed. That's why there is a more energy required to break this packing. So the melting point is higher. Suppose I am summarizing there. If the molecular weight will be increases, melting point will be increases. Packing increases, melting point will be increases. Suppose in previous example there is a packing increases, there is a good packing. If there is any good packing, then that in such cases the melting point will be increases. But for the boiling point, as the branching increases, boiling point will be decreases. But for branching increases, but melting point decreases. This is also till now this is right. But for better packing, melting point will be less. Similarly, melting point, as molecular weight increases, melting point increases. Suppose 3 carbon is there, here 4 carbon is there. So this is a higher melting point than this. So but for better packing, if such compounds, if 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 is there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, between these two compound, this is a higher melting point. But we have to compare between this compound 4 carbon and 1 carbon. Between these two compounds you have to compare, then this will be higher melting point, because there is an increase in branching, the melting point decreases. But for better packing, for better good packing, the melting point increases. Hydrogen bond increases, melting point increases. So this thing to be take care. Between these two compounds there is a electronegative difference arises. It will generate a dipole attraction. That's why melting point increases. In this compound also hydrogen bond will be there, so the melting point will be, this is a 3 carbon, here is a 4 carbon. So this is another structure between this compound 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. This will be higher melting point than this. This is alcohol, OH is attached, here COH attached. In aldehyde, here COH attached, here is a CH attached, here is OH is attached, OH attached. That's why there is a hydrogen bonding. So this will be higher melting point. As the attraction increases, melting point increases. Now melting point is discussed some of this compound. As the molecular weight increases, melting point increases. But as there is a packing increases, and this need to be take care. There is a 5 carbon, and the 5 carbon melting point decreases, and the branching increases, melting point decreases, branching increases, melting point decreases. But for a better packing, melting point little bit increases. So this thing need to be take care. Some of the compounds, this compound also melting point increases, this here melting point will be decreased. Here is the alcohol, now it is coming the right side. So this such type of compound need to be take care of the melting points. Such type of compounds will not going to ask in the exam because they are so much confusing. These all are the experimental data. So these things need to be not much to be thinking about this such type of examples, because such type of example is not going to ask in examinations. There are simple questions will ask which will be very easy to solve. Only they want to check that you know the concept of melting point or not. Only that much they will check. A little bit examination, a little bit questions will be asked. Very small question will be asked. Now we'll learn about the density.